Hello everyone, my topic for today is all about medical, dental, and occupational safety. Chapter 1, Medical and Dental Services. Article 156, First Aid Treatment. Every employer shall keep in his establishment such first aid medicines and equipment as the nature of and conditions of work may require, in accordance with such regulations as the Department of Labor and Employment shall prescribe. The employer shall take steps for the training of a sufficient number of employees in first aid treatment. Article 157, Emergency Medical and Dental Services. It shall be the duty of every employer to furnish his employees in any locality with free medical and dental attendance and activities consisting of the service of full-time registered nurse when the number of employees existed of 50 but not more than 200, except when the employer does not maintain hazardous workplace. The service of a full-time registered nurse, a part-time physician and dentist, and emergency clinic when the employees exceed 200, not more than 300. The service of full-time physician, dentist, and a full-time registered nurse, as well as a dental clinic and infirmary or emergency hospital with one bed capacity for every 100 employees when the number of employees exceed 300. In case of hazardous workplace, no employer shall engage the service of the physician or a dentist who cannot stay in premises the establishment for at least 2 hours. In the case of engagement on part-time basis, not less than 8 hours in case of those employed on full-time basis. Article 158. When emergency hospital not required, the requirement for an emergency hospital or dental clinic shall not be applicable in case there is a hospital or dental clinic which is accessible from the employer's establishment and he makes arrangement for the reservation therein of the necessary beds and dental facilities for the use of his employees. Article 159, Health Program. The physician engagement by an employer shall in addition to his duties under this chapter develop and implement a comprehensive occupational health program for the benefit of the employees of his employer. Article 160, Qualifications of Health Personnel. The physicians, dentists, and nurses employed by employers pursuant to this chapter shall have the necessary training in industrial medicine and occupational safety and health. The Secretary of Labor and Employment, in consultation with industrial, medical, and occupational safety and health association, shall establish the qualification, criteria, and conditions of employment of such health personnel. Article 161, Assistance of Employer. It shall be the duty of any employer to provide all the necessary assistance to ensure that adequate and intermediate medical and dental attendance and treatment to an injured or sick employee in case of emergency. Chapter 2, Occupational Health and Safety. Article 162, Safety and Health Standards. The Secretary of Labor and Employment shall, by appropriate orders, set and enforce mandatory occupational safety and health standards to eliminate or reduce occupational safety and health hazards in all workplaces, and institute new and update existing programs to ensure safe and healthful working conditions in all places of employment. Article 163 Research. It shall be the responsibility of the Department of Labor and Employment to conduct continuing studies and research to develop innovative methods, techniques, and approaches for dealing with occupational safety and health problems. To discover latent diseases by establishing causal connections between diseases and work in environment conditions, and to develop medical criteria which will assure, insofar as practicable, that no employee will suffer impairment, diminution in health, functional capacity, or life expectancy as a result of his work and working conditions. Article 164 Training Programs. The Department of Labor and Employment shall develop the implement training programs to increase the number and competence of personnel in the field of occupational safety and industrial health. Article 165 Administration of Safety and Health Laws. The Department of Labor and Employment shall be solely responsible for the administration and enforcement of occupational safety and health laws, regulations, and standards in all establishments and workplace whenever they must be located. However, chartered cities may be allowed to conduct industrial safety inspections of establishment within their respective jurisdiction where they have adequate facilities to competent personnel for the purpose as determined by the Department of Labor and Employment and subject to national standards establishment by the latter. The Secretary of Labor and Employment may, through appropriate regulations, collect reasonable fees for the inspection of steam boilers, pressure vessels, and piping and electrical installations, the test and approval for safe use of materials, equipment, and other safety devices, and the approval of plans for such materials, equipment, and devices. The fee so collected shall be deposited in the National Treasury to the credit of the Occupational Safety and Health Fund and shall be expected exclusively for the administration and enforcement of safety and other labor laws administered by the Department of Labor and Employment.